You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Flash Finds Podcast, the world's fastest podcast where we explore how Facebook can help you with the stuff you're into. I'm Emma Rogue, joined by Nathan the Cat Lady, a Facebook creator. So Nathan, if you're into pets, what kind of stuff can you find on Facebook?
Well, I make reels about useful tips for pet owners. For instance, cats don't like still water, so all of my cats have cat fountains.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. What a great episode. See you next time on the Flash Finds Podcast, all about discovering the stuff on Facebook you care about. Bye.
Things change, but Deer Park Natural Spring Water is a constant you can count on, bringing you the essence of home for 150 years and counting. Sourced from carefully selected springs, Deer Park Natural Spring Water has naturally occurring electrolytes for a crisp, refreshing taste. Find Deer Park Natural Spring Water at your favorite local retailer today. After 150 years, there's only one thing left to say. Deer Park, that's still good water.
Yes, a YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Try to run this play in the alley.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Emilio in Tennessee. And like Jacob already told the chat, Emilio's the reason we were late. So there you go.
Yep.
How we doing tonight, Jets?
Believe it or not, the guy was actually making tacos.
Well, he was making taco meat. He wouldn't make a taco. Which, by the way, man, as you were describing what you were doing with these smash burgers, Emilio, I'm going, that sounds amazing, dude.
Well, I haven't made smash burgers before, but I finally got a press and I got a nice, cast iron sheet pan for the grill. So I'm gonna go hit the smash burgers, but I wanted a little, chili, but taco meat to just kind of sprinkle on top. Hit the onions, smash the burger, cheese, and we'll sprinkle some taco meat, lettuce, tomato, hit it.
Yeah. 3 years later, cardiac arrest. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't even make it through mowing tomorrow. I'm done.
Cheese curds make my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them, though.
All right. Well, let's do this. Speaking of cardiac arrest, man, we got a lot to cover, guys. We got a ton of information to get into. Right before we go live, I had a ton of stuff already lined up. Jacob starts firing stuff from the hip, going, oh, yeah, this happened. So-and-so that said this. So we're going to try to get to it all here. Tonight. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us in the chat. I know we got a ton of people in here already. Rumble filling up. We got people on Twitter as well. So thank y'all for making us a part of your, Wednesday evening, right? So it's going to be like herding cats tonight with these two. Tim usually keeps it on the rails. I think sometimes they look up and they see Tim like this. Like, come on, guys, get it together. There's no Tim to right the ship tonight. So we're screwed. That's all I'll say. All right. But, all right. So, first things first, a lot of the defensive guys spoke. Everybody pretty much spoke today for the most part, but the defensive guys are what really stood out to me. I know Ryan Wood posted a video on Twitter. Make sure you go give him a follow and everything. Ryan Wood, one of the best Packers follows on Twitter, of Rashawn Gary at his locker today. All right. And what's really cool is Wes Heikowitz actually quoted Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary said after practice, the Packers defensive line has plans to get together this offseason. Me, Kenny, Preston, we're going to get the guys together either in Dallas or in Cali to work for about 2 weeks. I feel that's important to me being a leader. And then, of course, Ryan Wood posted this video on Twitter earlier.
In 24, or is it too soon still? You could tell the energy around the building from top to bottom is great, especially on defense, having kind of a whole new staff, kind of a whole new life. We're loving it on defense with the offense, man. I love their swagger. It's not like last year at all. So We come back, everybody work day in and day out. Like I told everybody to come back, 1% better than what we were today when we left. We're going to be fine and where we want to be.
What's your first impression of this scheme with Halfway?
Attack. Aggressive, and I'm loving it. Really just pin your ears back and relax and play.
How big of a difference is it going from outside linebacker standing up to more of a defensive end role now?
Similar, about the same. Nothing really different, just my hand in the dirt.
Do you feel like that swagger?
I'm so glad he said that, because that's just such a big misconception. Oh, now they got their hand in the dirt. They're going to, it's like, I love Wade Phillips. Years ago when he was the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, they asked him, what's the difference between playing outside linebacker in the 34 and playing defensive end in the 4-3? And he stood up from behind the desk or the table or whatever at the press conference. He walked over. He went, one's like this and the other's like this. He put his hand in. He said, that's the only difference. You're rushing the passer. You're playing the run to the quarterback. Now, obviously, he's saying aggressive. I think what they're talking about there is less post-snap movement. We've talked about this. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but I think they're saying less post-snap movement, and it's just get to your spot and go, man. And I think there's many people on this roster that kind of fit that mold. Hopefully they can put it all together. But what do you guys think about that as far as Rashawn Gary? And I think, Jacob, if I remember correctly, you said Preston Smith had a couple comments too. It sounded like he's pretty all bought in too, right?
Yeah, I will admit I didn't get a chance. I got off work just in time to crank out a few snippets and see this and that. But, man, I love seeing Rashawn Gary because it matches what I watched. I watched like 3 or 4 interviews, and every single one of them, I think most of them were defensive guys. They talked about just how the energy is there, how they're just Preston Smith, his quote was saying that the team is electrifying, to the point where he said that he thinks that there's guys at each and every level that are just ready to absolutely burst and explode on this league, like to the point where he said that it's the best defense basically that he's been that he's been a part of. And to me, they all look so confident. And the fact that you just talked about the fact that they're taking it serious. I think they've unlocked this weird. I've talked about it for a long time, so I don't want to tell you I told you so, but I talked about how you can't measure that team chemistry or the gel of a unit, like the brotherhood, the bond, whatever you want to call that. Like, there's no grade for that. And I think you earn that in the offseason. And if you look at every single one of the Packer teams that have been, it used to be like the old offensive line. They used to go and do the nerdy board game stuff together, and the receivers used to go do this and this together. And I just feel like that all of a sudden now we have that camaraderie, and these guys are actually believing in each other before they even get on the field. And that's to have that buy-in. I mean, we all remember the Titans. It takes until like at least preseason week 2 before they start loving each other. This is before they even get into training camp, and they're all best friends, and they're all want to go out to, to drink beers, or probably, I don't know what they do. Put together puzzles. Protein shakes.
Smash burgers with taco meat on top. Man. It changed my whole perspective on life. I'm just telling you. I'm excited about trying that.
You guys in the chat are a bunch of dirty people. Get your minds out of the gutters. This is a family show.
Jacob, I'll tell you, buddy, having heard you use the phrase meat missile, I think I know where they get it from.
Well, they were human meat missiles. And by the way, Marshall and AJ Dillon, I think, are getting in that meat missile category. Also, Edgerrin Cooper. We got a bunch of, dude, we're firing meat missiles off like crazy, dude.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Jeez, man. Wow. All right. So, Emilio, anything you want to add to that before we talk a little Edgerrin Cooper? That's probably I tell you, I keep going back. I almost use one of Ryan Schlip's terms, and I'm not going to use, well, I'll say it, but I vacillate between the two, right? going from Edgerrin Cooper to Javon Bullard on like who I'm most excited about watching in this defense. But anything you want to add to the veteran presence on that defensive line and kind of what Rashawn Gary was talking about?
Yeah. So I think, having Rashawn already being there, he's the cornerstone of that defense, right? Him, Kenny are the big names that have been here for, their whole life. The Preston on the other side, all of them being now in the 4-3, it's going to be wild. I was listening to Preston's interview. He really is excited. They kept bringing up his age to him. He was not having it.
Dude, what did he say? He's like, I'm like a fine wine. I'm
aging. Yeah. Get better with age. But honestly, I think what Hafley's letting them do is, they're playing aggressive, but they're being able to go back to like playing when they were kids. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and try and stop the guy with the ball. Like, you've got one job, set an edge or whatever, but if he breaks it down for you in that, minimalistic way, it's going to be easier for you to understand it and keep moving forward with that. But honestly, I'm excited to see. I'm wondering if they're going to run a lot of stunts and twists. What they're kind of looking at up front. But if it's just going to be head up, I'm going left or right, or I'm going to set you up right, hit you with the swim, punch, pull, whatever. It's going to be cool to see. But we have so much, veteran presence that's still young on that defense. It's going to be awesome.
Definitely. And, one of the things, like I said, with Edgerrin Cooper that gets me excited, Matt Schneidman tweeted out, Matt LaFleur says there was one play today he thought the offense was going to trick Edgerrin Cooper on. Cooper sniffed it out so well that LaFleur asked the defensive coaches if they showed Cooper the practice script. They hadn't. Now, I'm telling you, that's that high football IQ we were talking about. People were talking about how smart of a football player he is. I mean, you couple that with all the physical ability. And we kind of talked about this over and over and over. And I'm going to show you guys a clip here real quick of him. Let's just watch it real fast. And this is just him at practice today. Just a couple of clips. Watch his feet. And on that practice reel we just showed, if you watched his feet compared in the same drill to a Tyron Hopper, it is night and day. And I'm not trying to dog Hopper. I'm just saying Edgerrin Cooper's feet. Watch his feet on this. It's going to be the one where he's actually working the sled, but there's a couple clips here. I'm going to crank up a little bit of volume. You may or may not be able to hear Coach Campanelli coaching him up too. Right here. Look. I mean, he looks like a different cat, a different animal. And obviously, UF College tweeted this out. Texas A&M linebacker Edgerrin Cooper last season. This was back on March 20th. 87.6 run defense grade, 86.4 pass rush grade, 85.5 coverage grade. Only linebacker with 85 plus grades in all three categories. Obviously, Greg Cosell as well said he thinks there may be one or two linebackers that are more NFL ready than him right now, but he still had Edgerrin Cooper as his best linebacker because of the upside. So what were you going to say, Jake?
No, I just I watched his interview as well, and he just seems like it's a weird way of saying it, but like he just seems like such an innocent, sweet kid. He's always smiling like ear to ear, and he's like, they ask him a question, and this Packer, you know how they are. They ask him the stupidest questions, and he's like, yeah. Like he really entertains them, like he's having a great time. And I was glad that you showed that clip of him because I think it was Boz maybe shared it on one of his YouTube videos, which if you haven't check him out, check Boz out. He was like, the guy moves, he gets in and out of his cuts like a wide receiver.
Yeah.
At a position where he is carrying a lot of weight. And I think I had a note somewhere that he somehow was looking decent in coverage, but he also broke in and had like multiple pressures. And apparently he's been having they're in shorts still. It's not full pads, right, but there's been apparently multiple different times on multiple different days where he's had a clearing away. They just call it a sack. And I'm excited as all get out for that because, oof, man, our defense is starting to look legit kind of crazy. So,
yeah. And sometimes, when you draft a linebacker or any position for that matter, you've got kind of limitations. Okay, he's really good at this. Let's focus on that. If you've got someone, like I said, run defense grade through the roof, pass rush grade, coverage grade, everything, check all the boxes. As long as he can learn the playbook and learn the system, Emilio, you can use him he can be the Swiss Army knife of this defense. He really can.
Right. And Matt was saying that in his interview. He was saying, these guys got to come back. They have 6 weeks off, but man, no, these guys have to come back better mentally and better physically on their own. It's summer break, but you got summer classes as well. You're still taking the iPad. You're still going through the playbook. He's still got to pick up, all the defensive plays, cues, audibles, all that stuff. He never knows if he's going to have to put the dot on or if he's going to come out with the dot on. So I think that he is going to excel. We were talking about it last night. You got to have the mental ability to process it, and he's got the physical traits to succeed as well. As long as he takes, you heard him say yes sir in that clip. He was taking orders from the coach, bam bam boom, and I think it's the punch, peek, and shed drills, so that you get off your block. And then I love that they added the punch the football out at the end. Peanut Tillman. If I see like 3 to 4 punch fumbles this year, I'm gonna lose it.
It's by design if it happens.
Right, exactly. That's it. We saw it here in June, right? So that's going to be cool to look back on.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Another cool thing too, like you guys know, we were talking about Devondre Campbell, right? And as we're watching the tape, and again, we got as far as week 14. We're going to try to pick that up here real soon with Tampa Bay in week 15. The thing that you notice week in and week out, Darnell Savage missing tackles and Devondre Campbell just kind of very, very nonchalant, not attacking, right? And this is what really showed up on tape last year when we were watching it, whether it was Chalk Talk, watching it in real time, or going back and watching it for the fifth time. I've now watched every snap of Packer football 5 times. This is the 5th time as we go through here. So the thing that stood out to me is there's some linebackers like Isaiah McDuffie and Quay Walker that are attacking, and Devondre's just on his heels. This is the guy that's essentially looking to replace Devondre Campbell, right? And we talked about how his average tackle depth was like 2.1. I think it was like 22nd or 23rd best in all of college football last year. Well, Devondre Campbell, I went ahead and pulled those stats here, and this was on the Packers roster from linebackers. Now, keep in mind, they're also going to add the edge defenders because they are technically linebackers, okay? So you can kind of remove those guys if you want, because what we're talking about are what would appear to be stack backers in this new 4-3 scheme. When you look at the average tackle depth, which is that far right column, the logo's covering it up right now, but you guys know what it is. Now, again, Christian Welch, 1 snap, all right, 1 rush snap, okay. Brenton Cox Jr., only 4 snaps. You remove those two guys. Rashawn Gary, 1.7 yards was his average depth of tackle. Isaiah McDuffie, 2.1. Preston Smith, 2.1. Quay Walker, 2.4. All right. So anyone from here on down, now listen, I know it was college, but again, that you've got to point out, okay, here's what he did well in college. He being Edgerrin Cooper. He would be better with that number than everyone 6 and below, including Quay Walker at 2.4, Eric Wilson at 2.4, Kingsley Enagbare at 3.0, Justin Hollins at 3.1, and Devondre Campbell, guys, your highest paid linebacker last year, had the worst average tackle depth on the entire team. Now, if it was a scheme thing, Quay Walker's would be down in the 3s. If it was a scheme thing, Isaiah McDuffie's would be down in the 3s. Yeah, that's what bothers me about the whole, it's just a scheme, it's just a scheme. It's a BS. Devondre Campbell played on his heels, and on top of that, was kind of a distraction throughout the season as well, and he's continuing to be a distraction. I love that I'd love to see the general manager and the head coach talk at the 49ers when he goes on Twitter and rants about Packer fans. I bet he's like, what in the hell have we done? Like, this dude is going to lead our linebacking core, right? Mm-hmm. At least play alongside Fred Warner, the best mock in the game. But I just want to point that out, that you're swapping out Devondre Campbell's 3.2 for essentially, granted it was college, potentially a 2.1 or better with Edgerrin Cooper. It's very important. And again, what I noticed was the start, stop, shoot on all of his college tape. He was so good at, as soon as the ball snapped, start, right, get in your gap, get in a position to make the play, right? How you arrive at confrontation determines how you handle confrontation. Start, stop, read it, shoot. No hesitation. Get in the backfield, make the play. I think it's going to be huge. If we improve on that, you're going to see the run defense improve. If the run defense improves, you're going to be seeing 3rd and 8s instead of 3rd and 6s or 3rd and 4s. Or, like we said, those 2nd and 10s that a guy catches the ball, breaks 3 tackles, and Devondre Campbell, he got a high tackle total, but the dude's tackling him 12 yards down the field, right? So
linebackers are going to set the speed of the defense. So now that we have that speed, I like it. And Preston, in his interview as well, was talking about how he's excited to be down, kind of like how he was in Washington, and being able to go after the quarterback, being more aggressive, things like that. And I think that's going to help them not having to, he did step back a few times, right? He did go into coverage. That's a thing that happens. So I think he really is excited about it. And like Jacob was saying, man, fine wine. He's been getting better with age, so I like it.
Did you see in that interview, though, Emilio, they asked him what they think his role is going to be under the Hafley defense predominantly. And he said, hand him my dirt, and that I'm going after the quarterback. And basically he goes, finally getting after him. Like basically it sounds more like that it's going to be a lot less of containment and a lot more of you're just head hunting. And he smiled and he's like, finally. And they asked him,
and who was it that said that?
Preston.
Okay. Go ahead.
They asked him, when was the last time you had your hand in the dirt consistently like that? He said, my 4th year in Washington. And he said, yeah, he looked pretty excited about it. The one other thing I will say, though, is that, like we've talked about so many missed opportunities last year, the missed tackles by Devondre, the missed dropped interceptions and all that kind of stuff. Love, a quick highlight. He started off Pistol Pete hot, super hot. He was 9 for 9 only, had 2 incompletions. One of the incompletions was a missed slant to Dontavian Wicks behind him. It hit Quay apparently right in the chest. He drops the interception. Not what we want to see necessarily if we're going to turn over a new leaf, but one of those things to consider. Like, you can do as much as you want, but if you're not going to make the play in that key moment, it's all for.
Yeah, exactly. Great sound effect too, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim.
So, obviously we were talking about defensive line and how Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark are going to get the guys together. Preston Smith are going to get the guys together, go out to Cali, go out to Texas and get some work in together. I figured I'd go ahead and pull some of these statistics from the defensive line as well. I want you guys to key in on.
In the hobby, it's not easy of being a fan of ripping packs or repacks. We always hype ourselves up thinking we're going to get some kind of a mint signed Jordan Love card or something. But with zero transparency on available cards and hit rates, is all just a shot in the dark. That is until now. Introducing slab packs from arenaclub.com, the only repack that provides real value, a complete view of all possible cards, and clear hit rates for each one. Now when I buy slab packs on Arena Club, I finally feel like I know what I'm getting. I don't know if you saw the video me and my son did. That was us on arenaclub.com looking for new cards for my kid. Still on our YouTube channel. You should check it out. They have an incredible website. Slab packs are way better than mystery packs. Immediately after your pulls, they put your cards safe in a vault. So whether you're buying, selling, trading, or displaying, Arena Club's got the card collection platform that you have to check out. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase by going to arenaclub.com/packdaddy. That is a crazy offer. 10% off a $400 slab pack. That's $40 right there. Anyways, that's arenaclub.com/packdaddy for 10% off your first purchase.
Things change, but Deer Park Natural Spring Water is a constant you can count on, bringing you the essence of home for 150 years and counting. Sourced from carefully selected springs, Deer Park Natural Spring Water has naturally occurring electrolytes for a crisp, refreshing taste. Find Deer Park Natural Spring Water at your favorite local retailer today. After 150 years, there's only one thing left to say. Deer Park, that's still good water.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Broken tackle plus missed tackle percentage here. This is the defensive line, defensive tackle, defensive ends. So this excludes what would now be the defensive ends in Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, all those guys. You've got Lucas Van Ness in here in this group, which he actually played hand in the dirt defensive end from time to time, as opposed to just always standing up outside, right? But a couple of different things here. Broken tackle plus missed tackle percentage. Look at Carl Brooks. If this is that correct? If that's correct, and he didn't miss a single tackle all year, and I can't remember him missing a tackle, to be honest with you.
Nope.
Freaking
awesome. I remember him tracking the quarterback down and getting a tackle.
Yeah, right. And so you've got him in first place at 0.0%, average depth of tackle, average tackle depth, right? 1.6 yards. That was second best amongst these defensive linemen. Carl Brooks is going to be, I'm telling you, man, the stats do not show. If you just looked at the stat column, you go, okay, he had okay season. If you watch the tape and you look at some of these true analytics that kind of show you, okay, here's some of the important numbers, the dude is going to be a monster. Kobe Wooden, second at 5.6%. Lucas Van Ness, third at 5.9%. That really kind of made me go, all right, dude.
This is awesome. Like, I would not have thought this.
Yeah. So you've got two guys entering their second season that basically have, really three guys entering their second season. Now, I don't put Kobe Wooden up there with Lucas Van Ness and Carl Brooks. I don't. But I'm just telling you, Carl Brooks and Lucas Van Ness, all signs point to these dudes, if they get enough snaps, are going to be big difference makers. And that's really exciting because you got Kenny Clark. They're working on his new contract. We don't know how effective he's going to be here in the next 2 years. The future's kind of already there in Green Bay, and you continue to build off that. But Kenny Clark comes in at 10.2%. So his missed tackle plus broken tackle percentage is almost twice as high as Lucas Van Ness's. And that's what we talked about with Kenny, right? Hell of a pass rusher, constantly wins and rushing the quarterback, just missing a lot of tackles in the backfield. TJ Slayton, 12.1%, and Devontae Wyatt. Devontae Wyatt, if I remember correctly, was like third amongst interior defensive linemen in pressure percentage last year. Yeah. It was something crazy, like 22%, right? But again, his knock is in the running game and even getting back there and not sacking the quarterback because of the broken tackle plus missed tackle percentage of 18.6%. Hopefully this new coaching staff can kind of patch that up for Devontae because he is winning on the rush, Jake.
Well, see, that's the thing is I'm wondering here, like, Amelia, I want your input too, is you see the unbelievable talent we have at the bottom of the roster. I shouldn't say bottom, but the youngest guys in our group at that position. We know what TJ Slayton is. He's kind of going to be that 0-1 technique, kind of old school nose, just a big tractor trailer. Devontae Wyatt, as we can see, is not good against the run, but he is so good against the pass. Now, is it really one of those things where normally I'd be like, oh, that sucks, we don't have a balanced line. But look at Brooks, Wooden, and Van Ness. Is there a realistic situation where this is almost perfect because on first and second down, we can play Brooks and Wooden maybe more, have them shore up that run. And then on the second and third, especially if it's second and third and long, we throw Devontae Wyatt in there with Clark and then a couple ends, and it's like, go get him. And that to me just seems like a perfect scenario.
Dude, that's it. I mean, we have been blessed with having depth at wide receiver. It seems like we have it at corner now too. And looking at this D line and adding in the edges, dude, we are crazy. Set up there. And like I was looking at Devontae, his missed tackles probably were on his sack shots. When he went to, or these only all run snaps.
Most of them's run, I think.
It's just run snaps.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, because I do remember him missing some sacks, but honestly, it also will depend on how this defense is playing, right? You said so. Now that we're a little more aggressive, they've got one gap, you got one responsibility to get there, and yeah, dude, we are set up having that rotation. I think that's going to be huge as well. Like you said, having that depth, and the young guys being able to step up. Let's rotate them out. I want everybody at 85-90%, energy the entire game. I don't want anyone getting down to 50. We're going to hockey line it. Dude. You're on for 2 minutes and get off. We're just going to keep running them into the ground.
You know what? I just realized when you were talking about that, I listen to PFF's podcast quite a bit, and they talk about a lot how Vita Vea, the D tackle for the Bucks, how he has spurts. They say where if you put together a highlight reel just of their pure highlights, Vita Vea is up there looking like Aaron Donald, sometimes looking better, but he cannot put it together consistently through any real course of his game. Devontae Wyatt seems like he's almost, because it spurts. You watch his highlight reel, like Jake, Shavink used to come on here and you'd see him spinning off of this way and he'd be making, chucking guys with his arm that way, but he's just not a consistent finisher and he doesn't have it well-rounded in the run game to the point where he consistently is a household name, but he flashes like nobody. Like every now and then he flashes so fast that you're like, who is this guy? Like, what is this?
Right. Ron Samuel in the chat says, going to help the linebackers to know they're sure tackling safeties behind them too. Xavier McKinney, I can't remember what the exact number was, but they asked him as soon as he got to Green Bay, man, your missed tackle percentage is really impressive. and they told him what it was, and he said it should be lower. Like he immediately went like, no, it shouldn't be that high. Pretty cool. You see Javon Buller on the college tape. Granted, it's college tape. You've seen it with Katano Ladapo. You've seen it with Evan Williams, him just absolutely dominating Caleb Williams when Oregon played USC. All the signs are there that exactly what Ron Sandel's saying here is true. Going to help those linebackers knowing, hey, I got X back there. I got Bull back there. We're good. Let me be aggressive. Let me go make this play.
That's a mindset, though. Being able to and wanting to make that tackle is two different things. There's every DB is able to make a tackle if they're in the right position. How many of them actually want to make that tackle? And we're surrounding ourselves with people that want to be in there. I think it's going to be hats to the football sort of thing. I'd be surprised if you don't see at least 3 hats on each tackle sort of thing. I think that's going to be big for them.
Definitely. M. Smitty in the chat say Kenny at 1.3 depth of tackle. Oh boy, that's the other thing too. High missed tackle percentage of like 10%, right? Whatever the number was. But that 1.3 depth of tackle shows you when he makes a play, dude, it's a big play, right? I can handle that. I can deal with that. What I can't deal with is a bad average or a bad average depth of tackle and a high missed tackle percentage. That's where you're getting into some trouble, right? And both Kenny and Devontae, their average depth of tackle wasn't that bad, right? I'll pull it up one more time here. And actually, I think I've got it. Yeah, tackle depth right here for defensive linemen. Look at M. Smitty managing the show for us. Love it. So Kenny Clark, average depth of tackle, led the team 1.3. Carl Brooks, 1.6. Devontae Wyatt, 1.6. Lucas Van Ness, 1.7. TJ Slayton, 2.0. Kobe Wooden, 2.5. And that Kobe Wooden does kind of show up. There was times he got blown off the ball. It might have made a tackle or helped assist in making a tackle, but he wasn't, it wasn't like you look at a tackle column, go, okay, great, he got a tackle. But when you see it 6 yards down the field, that's, it's kind of a tough look. M. Smitty says that equate out to 1 out of 7 tackles missed for Clark and 1 out of 5 for White based on snap count. So doing the tough math for us there. I'm just going to assume that's correct.
Looking at the snaps, look at TJ Slayton's snaps. There's no shot that man is getting 600 snaps this year, right?
Right.
So I would drop him down to probably closer to Kobe Wooden's number. Where are the 350 snaps going between those?
That's a great question. Yeah. Randy Cleaver says rotation of the defense is going to be great. That's another thing, too. It's just like the wide receiver room, Wildy and Tausch had a great conversation earlier today, like, hey, can you utilize 6 wide receivers? And Tauscher seemed to think, no, 5 is probably the max that you can really utilize. But a good problem to have, yeah. You got to make it last a little longer, right, Amelia?
Try to make it last as long as you can.
If you please stop. It's a family program, sir. Jeez, listen, we love Wildy. It's just everybody's got their quirks. I've got mine. I say right 1,000 times. It's a safety mechanism, right? There it is. So, yeah, Wildy's, he just likes to throw out the So, anyway. There's your tackle depth. There's your defensive line breakdown. Now, one of the highlights of today, and listen, it's camp. I got you. They're not even, on this play right here, they're not even 11 on 11. But Tucker Kraft making this one-handed grab right here. This was going around the interweb.
That's Musgrave.
Musgrave. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to talk about Tucker Kraft here in just a second. Look at this one-handed grab by Musgrave, man.
Dude, that's
pretty nasty.
Really impressive.
Look who threw him the ball too.
Yeah. And that's Jair Alexander in coverage. No, I'm just joking. That's not Jair Alexander.
Looks like my dad.
Looks like, yeah.
No, that's Cooper DeJean.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, just it's pretty cool, too, because Luke Musgrave, we hit an article the other day, right, where they were talking about how he is one of like 6 tight ends that are set to break out this year. And what's crazy is I agree with the article, right? We talked about it. He made some big strides last year. M. Smitty says he stayed on his feet. You got to love it. We need that sound bite from the floor, don't we? He stayed on. Musgrave stayed on his feet.
Musgrave stayed on his feet.
But here's what's cool. When you go to receiver rating and you sort by tight ends according to SIS, Sports Information Solutions, throughout the entire NFL, look at Tucker Kraft. In passer rating when targeted, receiver rating essentially as tight end, 10th best in the league. That's your number 2 tight end. Like, you just see Musgrave, and again, Musgrave, a lot to be excited about, right? One-handed grab here. You see him when he was on the field, he was a difference maker. He really was. But Tucker Kraft, definitely the more consistent of the tight ends. I mean, look at some of the names he's in the ballpark.
I was just gonna say, like Tucker Kraft. I don't know. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but if you compare like Tucker Kraft and Musgrave, I feel like Tucker Kraft is like the Marine, and Musgrave's like the Air Force. You know what I mean? Like Tucker Kraft is just a devil dog. He's going in there smoking lung darts and just taking your girl, and Musgrave's gonna kind of walk in and be like, "Hello there, sir. Hi there," and he's. I'm just saying they're a different type of tight end. So Clayton might call one like a nub or a H-bat, whatever. I like to use military terms because
there you go. You heard it here first. The other thing too, Emilio, look at the drop percentage. He was tied for first at 0.0. There we go. We got a Marine in the house. United Bates to simplify. So yeah, the drop percentage, man, 0.0%. So evidently that wasn't counted as a drop there in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure this includes the playoffs too. I could be wrong. Nonetheless, if that's the case and it was a drop, he had one drop all year, but 0.0% on drops here, Emilio. Look at this, bro. Like that's, again, Faroa, or I guess it's, how do you say that name? Pharaoh Brown? Is that how you would say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pharaoh Brown, only 15 targets, right? Tucker Kraft had 41. So the other 0.0% was McCole Pruitt, only 12 targets. Again, Tucker Kraft had 41. So if you were to sort this by, 20 targets, a minimum of 20 targets, he's the only tight end in the league, I believe, that had a 0.0% drop rate.
Right.
Put that in perspective. George Kittle, 5% drop rate. Mark Andrews, 7.7% drop rate. Pretty impressive.
Yep. And 1.4 yards per route run. Love that as well. And it's not just a small sample size. That when he's out there, he's making a play. He's moving the sticks. That's huge.
M. Smitty says that Tucker Kraft reminds him of Kittle. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, chat, look this up, but I'm pretty sure Tucker Kraft is dating Kittle's sister or something like that. Isn't that the thing?
How the hell do you know this stuff? I need to know right now, sir. You've got all the inside scoop.
I swear that's a thing. I swear.
I believe you, man.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say Luke Musgrave is the one that just got married.
No, Tucker Kraft? Wait a minute. Tucker Kraft got married.
Oh, wait. No, was it Tucker Kraft?
Tucker Kraft got married, Jacob.
I'm saying it might have been a Kittle's sister. That's what I'm saying.
That's wow.
I don't want to be like TMZ or nothing like that. So
here, I got to hit you with it, man. All right, so we need a fact check here. Jacob,
I'm looking it up.
All right, appreciate it. Hey, look that up, Jamie. All right. We're going to get into some Romeo Doubs talk here in a second. We got a pretty long soundbite from him for sure. So, yeah, again, that Tucker Kraft receiver rating, pretty impressive, no doubt. As Jacob looks that up and gets the information for us, this one got me excited, Amelia. You used to play running back in your football days, right? This is before you played college lacrosse, obviously. But,
right.
Wes Haka was tweeted this out, and there's a video attached, which we played on the highlight reel there. But it says, no Josh Jacobs today means some extra reps for Marshawn Lloyd. Oh, and here's Jordan Love spinning the pigskin, #Packers. So Marshawn Lloyd getting extra reps in today. He had a really good soundbite earlier today, too. I think I may or may not have sent it to someone. I didn't grab it for the show, but he was just talking about how A.J. Dillon was helping him so much.
Yeah.
And, dude, what kind of expectations do you have for Marshawn Lloyd this year, Emilio? I think I would put my money on him being the number 3 running back as it sits right now, but would not be surprised that when they break camp, he takes over that number 2 spot. What do you think about that?
If he can block, then he can play. But it's going to be big. He's got to know Jordan Love's blindside protection. He's got to know, shifts and all that. But I think skill-wise, he does have that potential. The thing is I think Matt's not going to, wear down Jacobs too much in the beginning. I think he's going to get, a light carry load, maybe 10, 15 carries through the first 6 weeks probably. But I think Marshawn Lloyd and A.J. Dillon are going to get a workout in the first few weeks so that they can keep it off Jacobs. But if he shows out, then I think that he's got a real good shot at taking that 2 spot, and then Dillon be a sub 3.
I love it. Ron Sample says, I thought Kraft is married. Don't tell Kittle's sister. She don't watch the show. Don't worry about it, man. What'd you find, Jacob?
I gave up. I don't know, dude.
All right. Hey, listen. It happens to all of us, okay?
I swear, somebody's dating Kittle's sister, and it's a Packer, all right? I'll figure this out.
Angus McHaggis says Tucker's Side Piece would be a good band name. So you need to reach out to Justin from Packernet Podcast. He's the graphic guy for us over here at Packernet. He's got a band, awesome band, by the way. You guys haven't heard them, go check them out. But yeah, Tucker's Side Piece would be a good band name. He needs to change his band name to Tucker's Side Piece. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, that's a good name. Yep.
There you go. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Good evening. Let's see. Look at this. We got some creepers in here. M. Smitty says, Kraft married a gal by the name of Bailey Jandal.
Oh, dude. So I think that Robert Tanyan is dating Kittle's sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There you go. Okay, yeah.
Tell you what, I'm not as dumb
that's
as
what
I
he said the whole time, guys. Y'all in here trying to start rumors. Jacob is giving you the real story here. Anything else you guys want to hit on before we queue up this Romeo Doubs interview here? I know, Jacob, you watched this one. This is the first time I've watched it. You said you were really impressed with Doubs.
We've already usually when we see interviews from Romeo Doubs, he just seems like kind of and I'm not saying anything negative about the guy. He's just kind of a robot, unemotional, almost like,
I think he's an introvert for sure. I really do.
Yeah, I was like, do you even enjoy what you're doing right now? Like, you look like you're in a hostage video. But this time, all of a sudden, you see this weird, quiet confidence. You see him being a little more charismatic. You see him light up when they ask him about his family, what he wants to do in his off time. You see him talking about his growth as a man. You see him talking about his attachment to faith and how much that means to him. And it's a quick clip, but you guys will watch and you'd be the judge. Tell me if you don't see massive growth to the point where I'm telling you this right now, he may be my favorite wide receiver on the Packers, which is so hard to pick. It's like picking your favorite kid from what I'm told, but you got to get rid of one of them. Not just because there's not enough food,
You got to get rid of one of the kids.
It's not because you don't love them.
It's not because I don't love them. I ain't got enough food.
I'm comparing that to the 53-man roster. We're going to have to let one of these kids starve. You got to just pick the one.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Yo, this dude's in.
We're on Rumble. Who gives a shit?
Hey, easy, killer, easy.
Just a tip, though.
Oh, my God. They're out of control. See, this is why I try to stay away from Rumble. This is why we need YouTube. YouTube, we need you.
No, we don't.
No, we don't, he said.
They're busy kicking rocks right now.
All right, here's Romeo Doubs. And think of everything you said, man. The dude, to me, he seems humble. If I remember correctly, he grew up in a pretty rough part of Los Angeles, too. So, it's just like football was his way out, and he made it, and he's just making every bit of the opportunities, making sure he's maximizing it. And it was cool. They asked Keyshawn Nixon on that podcast he was on the other day, hey, who's the toughest receiver on the Packers to cover? He said Romeo Doubs, which is kind of cool. So I think he's the leader in that wide receiver room right now. He's led by example. He's been available. That's not a knock against Christian. It sucks. It's not his fault the hammy is given out. Hopefully we got it fixed. But Romeo Doubs has been there day in and day out leading that wide receiver core. Let's see what he had to say.
He said he feels like you didn't have a bad day.
And again, I apologize for the volume. There's nothing I can do.
Have you ever experienced turbulence on a flight and wondered why?
And you can see all the terrain around you. You've got no issue with visibility or anything?
No, everything's peachy.
Maybe you've sat on the tarmac for hours wondering why your plane isn't moving.
Well, we're outside here. They're saying the ramp is closed. They won't let us park because of Air Force One.
Listen in on the conversations between pilots and air traffic controllers on the Air Traffic Out of Control podcast.
510 declaring an emergency. There's smoke in the cabin. I need to make a landing right now on 31 left.
We have the most interesting, wild, and funny ATC recordings you will ever hear. Check out Air Traffic Out of Control wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Crank it up.
It all this offseason. How would you say it went for you?
I thought it was progressive. I'm not big on good or bad. I think alignment is everything, and just throughout the course of the start of this offseason up until just today, I thought every day it was something I can get better at, and that's what I look forward to throughout the course of this summer and going into camp.
What are your plans for this summer?
Be a family man and train.
Did you do anything different before the OTAs to, as you say, progress?
Nah, man. I mean, I was just being a football player, just athlete, a guy that trains. You know, I got with Jordan a couple times during this off season, and trying to learn more football. So.
What are the expectations within the wide receivers going into this season?
It's outside looking in, the expectations are high, but I'm confident in who we have, and sky's the limit for us all. So.
I know it's just the off season, but can you get a feel for what this team is going to be like this year?
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, this team is very, very unique, I say. Everybody participated in OTAs, and that's never been done, quite frankly. I don't know, but just speaking on it, I think it's very different. So.
You get that you've seen him in much bigger moments than many camp practice today, but when you see Jordan rattle off almost 10 straight completions in a couple team periods the way he did, just another example of just how far he's come and where he's at right now.
I mean, yeah, man, I tell people all the time, when I first got here, my rep started with Jordan, and just from the time I got here up until this point, he knows better than I do. The expectation is growth, and I think he's doing a phenomenal job at it.
What's the biggest difference you've seen in his growth from where he started to where he is now?
I mean, just confidence as a football player, He had some bumps throughout the course of last year, and he figured it out. And, I don't want to speak up for him, but he knows better than I do that the only goal is to get better throughout the days and not the weeks.
Well, you guys have plans to get together in the next 5 weeks, maybe Jordan, a couple of receivers again, like you did earlier this season?
Yeah, that's the expectation. I look forward to it, and I know there's going to be more football then. So.
Are you excited for the family time, though?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I look forward to it. Puts a smile on my face, a little warmth in the heart, but yeah, I get to be a family man for some time, but when it's time to go, then it's time to go.
How did you feel the energy level was out there, at least today, this past month, and did it kind of feel like the last day of school before summer?
Yeah, some I've overheard some dudes say, like, just the course of OTAs that today was the last day of school, which is kind of different because, we all getting a little older here, so. But no, I thought this offseason was great for us, and I look forward to camp.
Do you think it makes it hard for teams to prepare for you guys that there's not, like when Devontae was here, he was a clear number one receiver. Here you have a lot of talented guys.
That's not up for me to say. Ultimately, that's up for the opponent's game plan. So.
God, I love it, man. Love that dude. And M. Spitty hits the nail on the head here. Doubs is such a down-to-earth guy. How could you not want to play for that dude? I mean, and you've seen him, again, his numbers weren't like out of this world last year. But when Jordan needed to play, that's the dude who made the play. Whether it's back shoulder throw for a tutter or it was that prayer that Jordan threw up that just fell. It was like God sprinkled it down into triple coverage. I can't remember what team it was, but yeah, it's just – Doubs is the man, dude. That's one that the more I hear him talk, I'm like, you can't pay him number one money. You can't, right? I think we would all agree with that. But get him a contract early and make it worth it in his mind with some guaranteed. I want that dude to be a Packer for a long time. I really do. And the big discussion that's going to happen here in a couple years is going to be, like you said, I think you said it earlier, Jacob, Christian Watson or Romeo Doubs. Which one are you going to extend? I got to be real, man. Right now, I'm leaning toward Romeo Doubs. I am. But what do you guys think as far as Dobby there?
Dude, Romeo, if you're defining a number one receiver as, big play, big threat, explosive play, defense, kind of, eyeing you more, it's probably Watson, dude. I think consistency-wise, attitude-wise, work ethic-wise. Romeo Doubs is that number one, but like you said, probably at the moment can't get that number one money. But I don't think he needs that big contract for him to be happy, because the dude comes in early, hits a jugs machine. Matt was saying he hits the jugs machine before practice, and he's probably one of the last ones to leave after practice. And he's in the offseason working. He meets up with Jordan. Him and Jordan have worked for so long together. The dudes have probably had, 5-6 years of, consistency working together. That's huge. That's stuff you build over time, like Rodgers did with his, crew of wide receivers. But Jordan hasn't had that. We need to build it somewhere. It's got to start from somebody. What better person to be than, Romeo?
Yeah, definitely. Jake?
I mean, yeah, I'm starting to think. I mean, Emilio, is it fair to say that he's not going to be, like you talked about, that flashy X or like the Tyreek Hill or any kind of defense stretcher, but he's more of like that possession receiver? And he reminds me, I don't want to say he reminds me of like Donald Driver, because Driver was more of, he reminds me of like a hybrid between Lazard and Driver, where it's like, if you give him, he's going to come down with a third down catch. If he's in space, he can make something happen. He's probably not like the most flashiest guy. You're not really afraid of him. He's not going to be, he's not like a Devontae Adams, but he's one of those guys you have to account for, because if you don't, he's going to just run a precise route. He's going to catch the ball strong. He's going to move upfield. And if you're not careful, he's going to end up with 3 touchdowns randomly one game.
You hit it. Those last 3 things: precise route, good hands, and consistency. And that's, so you set him up ISO on the X. He's all over by himself over on the numbers. Let him go run a route against single coverage or against a corner and a safety over the top. If we do that with Christian Watson, it's that's what Hafley does. Break it down. There's probably only a couple routes that Watson's going to run. We're going to run a deep route, deep post, shallow post, or like a streak, come back to a curl once he opens his hip. You get Doubs over there, my man is going to run any route he wants to on that corner. So I think that Christian's game is a little better. They bring him inside a lot because he gets those different matchups on speed mismatches, and we can use that a lot more. Romeo doesn't per se need that, because 1, he has timing with Love, and 2, he has crisp routes. So he can get to that out route. Jordan knows when it's coming. He knows it's going to be 3.5 seconds, or 2.5 seconds. He's already going to be 3 feet from the hash or 3 feet from the sideline. Bam, put it there, and we're moving on. But it's something that Jordan can go back to, fall on, and that's his safety net. But yeah, I think you're right on with that, Jacob.
And chat pretty much agrees. Jim Smitty says Doubs is such a down-to-earth guy. Chewy says, I love him, man beater. Absolutely. Like you said, put him in the ISO on the X. If they play cover 1 man, just go beat your dude one-on-one, right?
Right. Because I would be fine with Christian in the bunch on the other side, right? And then he gets a split on a slot corner and just dusts the kid.
Yeah, absolutely. You could throw your Y, your tight end, in the center of that bunch. You could put Christian or Jaden Reed at the Z, or in the 3 in the slot there, right? So you could, both of them are speedy enough. You can go speed to 3 with Watson or Reed. Mm-hmm. If you find yourself in the third quarter and you recognize the defense is queuing in and trying to bracket cover Christian Watson, then throw him in the Z or the makeshift flyer. That way you're moving him around and causing confusion in the secondary.
Yep.
And you've got Jaden. And, not to mention, if one of these dudes get banged up or need a breather, you just put Dontavian Wicks in there, who might end up being the best receiver of this whole crew. So,
or Bo Melton, dude.
Right. And throw Christian Watson. Christian and Romeo start on one side, then maybe a little short, quick motion. You pull eyes to Christian. Romeo still isolated over there on the side, or maybe in orbit. Everybody, watches Christian run all the way back around. And it's eye candy, but if the dude, he all he has to do is beat the man across from him, and he's going to catch the ball, because in June, in May, the dude has been here hitting the jugs machine at 7 a.m. Yeah. That's why he's going to make the catch in December at 8:45 at night, sort of thing.
If you want to change things up too, come out in that bunch nasty X, run a little pin and pull, and let Malik Heath walk somebody to the water cooler. You know what I'm talking about? We got to pull that clip. That was the highlight of preseason for me last year, man.
We have to pull it.
United Bates says Doubs shows up to work. Randy Cleaver says Doubs is Love's favorite target. I believe if I understand correctly, they've been working together even before Doubs was drafted to the
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years they've been working together. So they've got that chemistry down. There's no doubt about it. M. Smitty says absolutely cooked the Cowboys. Chewy said the Dallas game, I fell in love with him. Jco 12, appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Said against KC or Detroit, talking about that little I don't want to say a Hail Mary, but it was definitely a prayer that was thrown up. M. Smitty says, Jco, that prayer throw was against Kansas City. We just got through watching that the other day. Let's see. Rock Cod says, I get the feeling the Packers pay extra attention to the Senior Bowl and combine interviews. They want to get Packer top players. They are all over Senior Bowl players. That's like one of the key indicators. Senior Bowl players Goody loves, right? Because those are players that are going to go out there and compete, man. And they know they're going to go up against the best of the best that's entering the draft and go out there and put work in. So,
yeah. Question for you. So they basically said that up until, July 22nd, the start of the next series of the official training camp, up until that point, they said that this is kind of like a 3-day, basically 2 out of 3 of them are actual practices, which we just talked about. And then tomorrow is going to be a team activity day. We've seen paintball. I'm pretty sure they've done like some bowling. I think when there was Rogers, they went and licked some toads, not toes. So like, what do you guys, have you heard anything as to what they're going to do? And if you had to choose, this is one of those stupid, what's your favorite ice cream questions, but it is a good one. What would you pick to for your team building experience? Top Golf to me comes out, or just an old school, like we're going to beer pong, see who can puke. I don't know. Like, what would you do, honestly?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the big thing that started when LaFleur came was the paintball, right? So that's kind of been LaFleur's thing. The bowling was McCarthy's thing for sure. Probably because McCarthy knew he could get a big old picture of a Mickey Ultra or something out there, right, and just start slamming it. He definitely had the pouch for that, no doubt about it.
From what I heard from Matt's interview, it sounded like the bowling trip that they took last week was that at team activity, and that today or yesterday and today were the last 2 days of practice. Today was the last day of practice. School's out. And then tomorrow, I can't even look at the comment. Tomorrow he said like 4 meetings or something like that, and then they're done. Okay, what was it?
M. Smitty said if it were Emilio, it would be a Home Depot run. So yeah, they're going to do a team building activity in the Milwaukee Tools aisle at Home Depot.
Hey,
right?
I'm just saying, if you're listening to the commercials, we've made moves.
Yeah, there you go. For me, if you guys don't know what he's talking about and you don't listen to the podcast version of this, Home Depot is a regular advertisement now since we broke that out on the draft extravaganza that we had, right? The live draft stream. And now they've added a commercial specifically with Milwaukee Tools. Look at my man over there. When you get there, what's the tool highlight tonight?
It's an M12 hammer drill. It's mint. It's fuel, obviously, fuel version. But, man, you tell me it's the light version, then we got the one for the concrete. I was trying to sell Tim on this one. I know he needs a new hammer drill, but maybe we'll get him on tomorrow and get his take.
I love it. Rock Cod says charter fishing. Let's see. I like this right here. M. Smitty says Jacob needs to host a cannoli eating party for team building. I can't wait for the draft, man. The draft in Green Bay this year, the Airbnb, we're going to have 3 dozen cannolis up there. We're going to have people puking all weekend long, bro. Don't you listen.
I still don't know.
There is no I can't, Jacob.
I didn't
know, Jacob.
I haven't even looked at it. Like I still can't even visualize what you guys.
You're not a team player, Jacob.
Jacob, it's going to be delicious. You're going to be like, why have I never had this my entire life?
I just want to experience it authentically for the first time. So,
yeah. Coach Lynn in the chat says Coach LaFleur talked about Romeo having a great OTAs, wants him to work on lengthening out his stride a bit more. That'd be stride length is something that people don't talk about enough, man. And again, Greg Cosell turned me on to it about 3 years ago. I'm going, what the hell is he talking about stride length? Sure enough, I dug into it, and it's a real thing.
Did you see that, Emilio?
Yeah.
Have you ever played that?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. That was one of the worst. I peed my pants in front of so many people.
What the hell are you guys talking
about? You ever heard of United Baits, Edward 40 Hands? It's when
did you use duct tape or did you use painter's tape?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Duct tape, bro. They duct taped me. I just kept peeing for the night. Didn't matter. They wouldn't let me out. That's when
you
your friends
drank the bottles faster, and then you could have.
Yeah, our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before. So.
No,
Yeah, but then you got to worry
wasn't
about
wake up. It was hot the whole night for Jacob.
Edward 40 hands is when your buddies, quote unquote, you duct tape 2 40s open to your hands, and the only way that they'll untie you is if you finish both of them without peeing your pants.
How about these hands?
We're out of here, man. It just hit me. How does Mr. Larry hold his beer, man, in that left hand? How does that work? That pinky's important, right? Like the pinky is important for. I don't know how you guys roll. I put it underneath the can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's maybe he keeps the pinky up.
Diet 7 Up.
Maybe he does a
pinky up.
Yeah,
I don't think his pinky goes up, bro. Let's get one more look at it here. Let's see, just to make sure. I don't want to miss.
How about these hands?
That's not doing anything.
Yeah, I think that's going to be.
Although he probably don't need toothpicks. He just starts,
All right, we're out of here, guys.
Yeah, Jacob has gotten us off the rails.
56 minutes and 52 seconds was when it went off the rails. Okay,
got 80 people watching the Rumble.
Some of you guys are going, no, it was about the 18-minute mark when Jacob was being perverted is when it went off the rails. So, anything else you guys?
Things could be a lot worse. I could be a Bears fan.
On a serious note, we have like 18 different topics we could cover tomorrow about tonight. We barely got into the offensive line talk. We barely talked about Quay being on the edge. We didn't talk about the fact that Williams and Bullard were starting with the first team safeties this practice here because Ant wasn't there. We didn't talk about, again, Jordan Love being so precise. We didn't talk about Dillard and where he's going to be. So we've got a lot of things. Lloyd, all stuff. Tune in. It's not all great, comedy.
Yeah. There's
none of it great comedy.
It wasn't it John and Keith. They were excused and everything now.
Ja, Keith, X was gone too. Yeah,
they all exceeded. They all exceeded that amount of time that they had to hit. So I know if it was Aaron Rodgers, everybody be freaking out. They'd be like, "Oh, this selfish prick!" But everybody's good. No one.
And that falls back to what Romeo said, or I think it was Romeo. Full attendance at OTAs. I don't think that's ever been done, right? So the team is different. Two words that came out of today's press conferences were unique and electrifying.
Yeah,
from two different age groups. 2 different sides of the ball, and Matt LaFleur's satisfied with everything he's seen. It's gonna be a different season, man. I don't know if people are ready for it, and we're gonna be, we're quietly gonna be, creeping up on some of these people. I don't think the media's gonna talk about it.
The Larry McCarron talks off the rails. The chat, I'm disappointed in you. I just want each one of you to know I'm disappointed.
I can't even put them up. You guys, Eric Sutherland's ghost is running the chat now.
Right. Eric Sutherland isn't even here, but I guarantee you he's texting Bates and all these other guys and going, "Hey, say this." Yeah.
I bet about
65%.
65%. That's what
of the talk is about Larry's finger right now. Is that about right?
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Exactly correct. All right, we're out of here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking offensive line tomorrow, Jacob. We got to hit that again. When I text you guys that list them out. Topics you want to hit on, we'll all prep for it. I always text it. You never respond. And then Jacob comes in and goes, "We need to hit on this, and this." I'm going, geez.
I didn't know that was the good. You just send me one. I'm like, so that's 1 and 2. All right. So I didn't know you were looking for suggestions. I thought you were just like, this is what we're doing.
Just thought I was bored, right? I had nothing going on.
Well, that chat's off the rails anyway. So Jacob's how much of this are we actually taking notes on?
I get like 2 minutes.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Oh man! All right. Well, I'm excited to talk about Jordan Morgan because it sounds like he played all over the offensive line. Like you said, the Dillard talk is going to be fascinating too because that's that dude's playing for his career, right? That's a former, if I remember correct, 19th overall pick. So that'll be a fun conversation. So we're out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all spending time with us this evening. Hit that like button on the way out if you don't care. We had almost 100 people on Rumble when we peaked here. We got 134 on Twitter. I know the podcast is blowing up. We'll be back on YouTube in a couple weeks. But Rumble's definitely the future. There's no doubt about it, man.
Probably Friday, right, Clayton, for Greg's comment.
When is the painful Tampa Bay episode? Yeah, what we want to do is make sure we're hitting on this OTA stuff and any residual conversation that's going to extend out past it. And then when things go dead, we'll go back to week 15. We'll all take that butt kicking together there with Tampa Bay, and then we move into the good tape.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it done. We just need to half a day program.
It's never not to have play a drinking game. It's the Tampa Bay now. We write that down.
Pick one word.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We're out. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to help myself out here tonight, I believe. If I know which one to hit, let's see if I can figure it out here.
I messed it up last time.
Is a possibility.
No,
I did.
No, you didn't do it. We got to label these better.
For those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go Pack, go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet, get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Try to run this play in the alley.